Hello, I'm Xiran Jay Zhao, the author of Iron Widow, a YA science fantasy novel releasing September 21st. Iron Widow is a Pacific Rim meets The Handmaid's Tale reimagining of the rise of Wu Zetian, the only female emperor in Chinese history. I like to describe it as 400 pages of female rage, conducted through giant mechas inspired by mythical creatures from East Asian mythology. It blends tropes from sci-fi and fantasy, with the science part being derived from concepts in traditional Chinese medicine. For example, the pilots connect to their mechas through acupuncture needles. This book is basically a wild blend of my love for anime and my love for Chinese harem dramas, because I simultaneously have the taste of a 7-year-old Japanese boy and a 62-year-old Chinese auntie. And speaking of harem dramas, even though I use The Handmaid's Tale in my pitch because it's familiar to Western audiences, Chinese harem stories have actually been playing out the female dystopia angle for a long time. It's a very culturally specific genre in Chinese media. They take place in lavish imperial palaces where thousands of women must serve a single man, which is the ultimate male fantasy but a suffocating female nightmare. And so they tell the stories of women trapped in this system who use every resource available to them to rise higher and survive. Empress Wu, my inspiration, personally survived 2 harems. She went from a concubine in charge of changing bed sheets to single-handedly ruling imperial China at its most prosperous and liberal peak. She defied all odds within this system designed to keep her down, and then rewrote its very rules to take command of it. Iron Widow reimagines her as a teenage peasant girl who grew up in a vastly different world, one inspired by various Chinese dynasties and also modern China. It's a world where humanity hides behind the Great Wall from massive alien invaders called Handans, and deploy equally massive mechas called chrysalises to fight them. These chrysalises must be piloted by a boy-girl pair, but while male pilots become legends and celebrities, the female pilots are treated as their disposable concubines, because they have a much higher chance of dying from the psychic link between pilots during battle. See, this is where the harem drama inspiration comes in. The story kicks off when Zetian enlists herself as a concubine to assassinate the male celebrity pilot who she believes killed her older sister. She ends up doing this through the battle link itself, which shakes her world because female pilots are not supposed to be able to kill male ones. She is then labeled an Iron Widow, and her society will rather her be executed, but since the army desperately needs pilots of her caliber, she is paired with the strongest male pilot alive, who is also controversial because he is technically a death row inmate. They expect him to tame her, but she is of course not going to let that work. She will leverage every advantage available to her to fend off the endless string of people who want her dead until she can find out the truth behind why the pilot system is so misogynist. I am carrying on a long tradition of Chinese writers rewriting iconic figures from our history with a fantasy flair, and I hope you enjoy it.